Hi there. Thank you everyone for coming along today to find out about Amity Services, and thank you to Ardent for giving us this opportunity. So there's three of us speaking today, myself, Tanya, Lindsay, and who's the AOD Programs Coordinator, and Lauren, who is the Gambling Programs Manager. I'd also like to do an acknowledgement, firstly, for a meeting held today on the beautiful lands of the Larrakia people, and pay my respects to the elders past, present and emerging. I would also like to extend that respect to Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander people who have joined us today. So my name's Tanya. I'll be speaking first, and a little tiny weeny bit about me. I've got a background in mental health and suicide prevention, and I've been at Amity as a counsellor for a couple of years now. So a little bit about Amity Community Services. We've been around for around nearly 50 years, and we offer counselling services. We also offer information sessions around gambling, BSU, gaming, and some other things to schools, retailers, community workers, rehab centres, and that type of thing. We also run a gambling program, and we are part of gambling research projects. So I'll talk about counselling first, because that's my area. So what we offer face-to-face. We do telehealth and phone sessions for people with concerns around AOD, so alcohol and drugs and gambling. We also offer services to concerned others, so that might be friends or family of people who are affected by these concerns. It's open from 14 plus years old, so we do offer the service to quite young. And how do you go about coming to the counselling? So how do we refer? How do you get in? You can call us, make an appointment. The number's on the screen. You can also pick up our referrals on our website. We have adult and youth referrals, or you can just walk in and see us. So there's a number of ways to refer, and you can refer somebody else. So what to expect when you come in for a counselling session? A lot of people know about counselling, but they have no idea what happens or they've gone on past experiences. So first session is always assessment. This is just to ensure that the person is receiving the correct support. Second session is when the fun starts. That's when we start the therapy. And we may start with lapse, relapse, a bit of psychoed around addiction. However, we have found that people who have just come out of rehab don't really like to go over the same old things. So we're really looking at what the needs are of the client. It could be dealing with a bit of shame and guilt. We know that CBT works in this type of area, and so that's the link between thoughts, feelings and behaviours. Problem solving, looking at somebody's lifestyle. We also use motivational interviewing, which is really effective for eliciting change. We're looking at how do we get people to identify the behaviours that are not working for them, and they have to be wanting to make these changes, so in the correct stage of change. So also another thing we do look at is goals, short-term, long-term goals. It's good to be working towards a goal. We've also found that with AOD, there can be a lot of work around anxiety or that negativity, identifying negative thought patterns. So, but the most important factor is harm minimisation. So we'll be looking at protective factors. What else could I be doing? And remembering also it's not always about abstinence. It can be about managing a behaviour, which is really important too. So what to expect if you come into counselling if you have gambling concerns. So Lauren will talk more about the gambling program. But by the time we have people that come in, by the time they seek counselling for gambling, they are pretty much wanting to stop, or something is significant going on in their life. So we do have calls as well about concerned others who come in about their family and friends. The counselling will be very similar to AOD counselling, but we're looking at the gambling behaviours, things like where do they go, what is this behaviour replacing, is there a gateway behaviour going on, i.e. alcohol. And generally we have found that people are probably avoiding something's going on, because what we do here is that when people are gambling, especially on their phones in front of a machine, they're hyper focused on that machine in front of them, and people do speak in terms of not facing up to whatever their reality is. And also the hook is the adrenaline of the anticipation of winning. So there's a lot of dopamine going on. What can we do? So the practical measures would be around looking at multi-venue self-exclusion, bet blocker, bet stop. This is if the person wants to do that. So other things that we can do practically are looking at who can help with the finances, hand over your card, controlling finances, that type of thing. See a financial advisor. Sometimes just seeing your finances in black and white is enough to drive change. Therapies would be very similar to AOD, so CBT, cognitive behavioural therapy, motivational interviewing, lapse relapse. So again, we'll be looking at distractions, what supports are out there, and where are the risky times and behaviours, what are the risks to the person, and also coping methods, urge surfing, delayed gratification. So takes a bit of practice, but we can get there. We also really encourage gambling anonymous meetings as well. We as counsellors see the importance with any type of counselling. The rapport with the counsellor has better outcomes, a good rapport with the counsellor. So, and we're working from a harm minimisation perspective. So you can always ring gambling help online. Our number for Amity goes straight to this after 4:30. Also, there's Lifeline to ring at any time of the day, 24/7, 13 11 14. And now I'm going to pass you over to Lindsay, the AOD Programs Coordinator for the VSU program. Thanks, Lindsay.
Thanks, Tanya. Hey, yes, I'm Lindsay. I'm the AOD Programs Coordinator for Amity Community Services. I do want to thank everybody for joining today, and especially to Ardent for giving us the opportunity to allow us this time. So I've been working at Amity for just over 3 years now, and within the current role that I'm in, just over 2 years. So my program primarily focuses on addressing the challenges of volatile substance use within our community, and particularly in Darwin and Palmerston, along with a focus on building and maintaining strong relationships with external stakeholders while providing information on Amity's referral pathway, which Tanya's already spoken about. So a little bit about the program itself. So the VSU program is an essential initiative that aims to reduce the harm caused by volatile substances, providing support and resources to retailers, community service workers, security and transit personnel. And what it is I deliver VSU information sessions designed to educate specific groups about the risks and consequences of volatile substances. So Amity works proactively with local retailers to help them identify products commonly inhaled, and this includes advising on safe storage, signage and sale protocols to limit inappropriate access. And by building relationships with the retail staff and management, we foster a shared responsibility in preventing VSU and encourage businesses to adopt harm reduction practices in line with community safety goals. We develop and distribute clear, engaging and easy to understand materials that explain the dangers of VSU. And these resources are tailored for different audiences, including the retailers and community service organisations. And the aim is to increase knowledge, reduce stigma and empower individuals and communities to act. And our work is part of a coordinated response to VSU, and we maintain quite a good partnership with NT Health and NT Police to share this information, identify emerging trends and align our strategies together. So this collaboration enhances our ability to intervene effectively, respond quickly to incidents and provide a consistent message across all sectors. We actively promote Amity's support services and referral options so that community members and professionals know how and where to seek help. And this includes outreach to schools, health clinics, community organisations and justice services. By fostering these strong relationships with external stakeholders, we build a comprehensive support network and increase the visibility and accessibility of our programmes. So what is volatile substance use? I'm sure many of you have heard it. It is called many different terms, but in Amity we use VSU, volatile substance use, and it involves the deliberate inhalation of vapours from everyday products like spray paints, petrols, glues, aerosols, specifically deodorants and dry shampoos to achieve a mind-altering effect. And the most common products we see being inhaled in the NT are deodorants and dry shampoos. And while often experimental and most common among young people, VSU can become dangerous and habit-forming. Effects range from dizziness to sudden death due to heart failure or accidents. And in the NT, we have specific laws which allow police and authorities to intervene where VSU is a concern. And VSU is not only a health issue, it impacts families, communities and services. And our work focuses on reducing access, raising awareness and supporting those affected. So the impact of the programme on the community, so by providing the education, support and resources, we aim to raise awareness of the dangers of volatile substance use. So our main goal is to increase public understanding of it, particularly the risks involved, including both the short and long-term effects. Awareness is the first step in prevention. We educate on harm, supply and demand reduction, and this includes information on how to reduce harm, how to identify signs of use, and how to access support. The work that we do directly with the retailers helps them recognise the high-risk products and implement strategies like limiting sales, storing substances securely, and reporting concerns where appropriate. And by identifying the key supply points and working with businesses and community members, we can limit the availability of volatile substances, particularly to vulnerable groups. And our programme, which relies on strong partnerships, the regular communication and coordinated responses between NT Health and NT Police ensure timely and effective intervention. And lastly, by being visible and accessible in the community, we build trust and create safer environments. Proactive work often prevents issues before they escalate. So a crucial aspect of our understanding of VSU has been a need for access to real-life statistics specific to the NT. And in collaboration with the Just North programme, who are based in far North Queensland, their organisation is called YETI, Y-E-T-I. And we are working towards securing Amity access to their comprehensive reporting platform. Now, this platform is set to be implemented across the entire Northern Territory, enabling us to better identify current trends and areas of concern. With this data, we can strategically focus our efforts on reducing the harms associated with inhalant use in our communities. So this slide just gives an overview of the VSU incident reporting platform and what it would look like. So one of the key principles behind the form is protecting the privacy of young people. So it is important to note that it does not allow any personally identifiable information. So it doesn't include names, initials, or addresses. And any reports that do include this kind of information are automatically removed and won't receive a response. The form is user-friendly and structured in a way that guides the reporter through each step. So users will be asked to enter a location, where the incident occurred, the date, and their role or relationship to the incident. And there's a select type of incident from a drop-down menu, which is also included. So whether or not it's just paraphernalia that's been found on the floor, or if there's a group of young people inhaling in a certain area within Darwin and Palmerston. There's also an open text selection for additional details, and as long as no identifying information is included, it's a straightforward, privacy-compliant way for stakeholders, community members, and service providers to flag VSU-related concerns and help us build a better picture of what's actually happening on the ground. So I've spoke about the VSU information session. So what it is it can be delivered face-to-face or online. It's approximately an hour long, and it just covers the key topics of common inhalants and their use, understanding the effects, recognising signs and symptoms, responding to VSU, and accessing valuable resources. Just to note as well, Amity have a couple of e-learning modules on their website, which is one for vaping and one for volatile substance use as well, which can be accessed through the Amity website. But if anybody would like one of the information sessions or would like a bit more information, please don't hesitate to contact me. Thank you for your time, and hopefully I've left enough time for Lauren to get through her section.
Thanks, Lynn. So yes, I will have to blast through mine now, so we've got some time for questions. My name's Lauren. I'm the Gambling Programs Manager at Amity. I wasn't going to tell you a bit about me, but I've been here for 3 years. My background is in sort of Indigenous health and community services. So firstly, I'd like to talk about gambling harm in the NT and why it's so important to be aware of gambling harm minimisation strategies and the programs that Amity have available. So gambling harm in the NT. The 2023 Gambling Prevalence Survey in the NT report came out recently. So this is kind of the most recent research we have on gambling in the NT. So the survey's top findings were that around 3/4 of the NT adult population, so that's about 73%, participate in some form of gambling, which was a small but not a significant increase since 2018, which was 72%. The most popular forms of gambling are lotto at 47%, raffles at 36%, electronic gaming machines, EGMs, or you might know them as pokies, at 24%, and Keno at 22%. Younger Territorians tend to favour EGMs, casino table games, and sports betting, while lotto, raffles, and racetrack betting are more popular among older Territorians. In terms of motivation, 14.2% of gamblers do so for excitement, followed by money at 11.8% and escape at 4.4%. Online gambling increased significantly from around 9% in 2018 to 16% in 2023. And the population groups featuring the highest percentage of problem and moderate at-risk gamblers include Territorians aged 18 to 25, and that was 15.8%, males at 10.1%, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders at 18.8%, and those from cold, so non-English speaking backgrounds at 26%, and those completing education to year 10 and below at 15.2%. Problem and moderate risk gambler estimates both increased from 2018 to 2023, with problem gamblers up from 1.4% of the population to 2.4% of the population, and moderate risk gamblers up from 3.6% to 4.2%. We've also received requests from organisations to help and support clients in remote communities that seem to be seeing an increase in online gambling, or ding ding is what it's called, so ding ding harm. And although there isn't research around that, that's just the anecdotal evidence that we're getting. So this does indicate that gambling has become more prevalent in the NT between 2018 and the 2023 study. So as organisations interacting with members of the community and clients who may be at a higher risk of experiencing gambling harm, like people who are already engaged in AOD services, for example, it's important that we know what to look out for and how we can support these people ourselves or refer them to the correct supports. So the Gambling Harm Minimisation Programme. So it's a territory-wide primary and secondary prevention programme. We offer community and staff training, industry training for gaming staff. It's delivered online and in person. We also provide health promotion resources so they can be in person or online. And we participate in research as well. So programs for the community. We have 2 programs, both called Gambling Go Easy. One is a staff version and one is a client version. So the Gambling Go Easy staff is primary prevention. And regardless of how strong any public health approach might be, some people will always need specialised gambling treatment. So a report on the social impacts of gambling in the NT showed the NT with the highest rate of disordered gambling in Australia, and rates higher than other jurisdictions globally. So people who are affected by gambling harm rarely only have issues with gambling, as Tanya mentioned. They often present for help with concurrent issues or comorbidities, if you went to the Ardent training yesterday, ranging from substance use to mood disorders, health problems, relationship problems and financial or legal problems. And these people seek support through various services other than gambling specific counselling. So this kind of necessitates a strong safety net at the pointy end of harms within specialised gambling services and in allied organisations where the person who gambles or the affected others, the concerned others, are already seeking support. So for a bit of context, the average rate of disordered gambling in the developed world is around 1% of the population, and in the NT it's 2.4%. So we, have quite a big problem here. Additionally, for every person with a gambling disorder, 6 other people are directly or negatively harmed. So it's really important for the community that we address this. So the GGE provides further capacity building for allied professionals encountering people who are at a higher likelihood of experiencing gambling risk or harm. And as I said, this can be people accessing substance use or mental health programs, GP services, financial counselling, all that kind of thing. And the session covers the initial skills needed to identify and address the harm by understanding why people gamble, the stages of change, screening tools, brief interventions, referral pathways, and understanding the pathways, so the appropriate help services and how we can address any barriers to treatment. And that one runs for 1 to 2 hours. We actually have 2 separate versions of that depending on your background. So the more clinical staff would have 2 hours, and your more generalised client-facing staff maybe 1 hour. And then we have the Gambling Go Easy clients. This is secondary prevention. And this version of the GGE offers high-risk clients of existing services, education for healthy decision-making related to gambling. It identifies signs of possible harm and where to get support to address barriers to help seeking. And that one runs for an hour. And programs for industry. So we offer a program called Red Flags and Supporting Self-Exclusion Training, which is a responsible gambling training for operators, regulators and gaming staff. So this is an online module. It's accessible anytime for the convenience of gaming staff, but can also be delivered in person if requested. And this training is a requirement for gaming staff working in the NT under the NT Code of Practice for Responsible Gambling 2022. So gaming operators are the most immediate point of contact with customers who may be experiencing risky play or gambling harms. And as such, they are critical for educating customers to prevent risky play and in supporting them to address the harm via a sensitive and appropriate referral. So staff training straddles both primary and secondary prevention and reduces the harms downstream. So the gambling operator is also harmed through a loss of the customer, eroding staff morale and negative social license due to these harms. So strong staff training has been shown to improve staff morale, customer satisfaction and loyalty. And research also shows that more interactions customers have with staff around safer gambling the stronger preventative effect that has, leading to more sustainable play patterns by customers, less overall loss for high-risk players and fewer self-exclusions. So health promotion. Amity's main health promotion initiative is Gambling Harm Awareness Week, or GHAW as we call it. And this is an annual week-long territory-wide campaign. So each jurisdiction has their own, and Amity does the one for the NT. So as I said, it's annual broad-based primary prevention campaign. It promotes healthy gambling behaviours and gambling risk awareness. There aren't really healthy gambling behaviours, but safer gambling behaviours. Every year, GHAW highlights current themes and messaging consistent with changes in gambling behaviour and community need. We do this via social marketing campaigns. So if your organisation would be open to participating, please let me know. I'll give you an email at the end. And this year's campaign runs from October the 20th to 26th. We are hosting a community launch on Thursday the 23rd of October at Harry's Place, which will involve a panel discussion and pop-up stalls. And we'll be doing pop-up stalls throughout the week. So if you're interested in attending the launch or hosting a pop-up stall at your organisation, or you just want some of the resources, again, please reach out on that email that I'll give you in a while. Outside of Gambling Harm Awareness Week, we do disseminate gambling harm minimisation health promo resources, like physical ones. So you'll see these in gaming venues, community organisations, counselling offices, whatnot. And if you would like to display any in your workplace, again, I'm going to plug us. Feel free to reach out. We've recently translated some of the resources fully into Westside Creole, Walpurgis and Yolngu Matha, and that's available on a QR code on the leaflets. And all of our resources will have a QR code on that has just the support service info in those 3 languages. So again, if you want some of those, let us know. I'll just keep an eye out for them round and about. Research. So research, the gambling program supports the creation and use of NT-specific data relating to gambling and gaming harm, and that helps us inform community and industry programs. As I mentioned, the gambling landscape up here is slightly different to other jurisdictions, you know, the different kind of population that we have. So it is important that we have that NT-specific research for us to base our programs off of, so they're the most impactful they can be. So we're always open to research opportunities. If your organisation, again, is interested or has something in mind that you'd like support with, please feel free to reach out. We're currently involved in the GAME research project. So GAME stands for Gambling Awareness, Messaging and Education in Gaming Spaces. And the project aims to minimise gambling harms among younger gamers in the territory. Working alongside young Territorians, the project will develop counter-framing messages that challenge the normalisation of gambling in online video game environments. So things like loot boxes, skins, gacha rolls, that kind of thing. It represents an ongoing partnership between Flinders University CDU researchers and Amity Community Services. And it also paves the way for new networks within the territory's emerging professional gaming scene, including next tier gaming and esports and the array. So it's innovative, it's future focused, and this research will deliver targeted harm prevention resources for young Territorians, which is a population that's currently vulnerable to the predatory gambling influences in gaming. We're also hoping to get a Game 2.0 research project off the ground, which will involve developing an app, a kind of support app. So keep an eye out for that. And that brings me to the end. So